Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. It is time to meet, well, I just met her, but I'm happy to have done so. The author of A Glorious Arising, A Journey to the Remembrance of Me. She's a visionary leader, heart-centered speaker, architect of transformation, devoted to guiding individuals, organizations, and communities towards wholeness, well-being, and optimal results. Kiana Webb, welcome.
Dominique, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, Miles was on my wavelength. It's funny. I was thinking this morning about that Strength, Courage, and Wisdom song and just thinking maybe we need to play it every day right now because people are so stressed out by what's going on politically and stuff in the world. And I just think we need strength, courage, and wisdom.
Regardless of what's happening, but especially now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what a perfect time for your book, A Glorious Arising, to come out.
It's been lovely. I have to admit, it's been a journey of passion and a lot of releasing of pain. So I feel like my journey is indicative of what so many of us are feeling now in this face of uncertainty.
Yeah, you are the founder of Glorious Arisings, not just a book, but an organization.
It's a way of being.
Okay.
You know, so it's the name that I use to greet. It's what we do in our work. It's how we live our lives in the community that I'm in, about how do you get to the place where you are fully in remembrance of you and the light that you are, so that no matter what is happening in the world, you never lose your sense of self.
Glorious Arisings is how you say good morning, grand rising, God morning. There's so many ways that we can greet each other, greet the day. And it's become sort of very specific, almost a prescription, right? So what is it about that that is important that you say it that way?
I think that it really stems from the fact that most of our life we have done everything from our way of doing. Like we have to get somewhere or be something other than who we are right now. And what we're asking is to take back our sovereignty, take back the external experience, come within ourselves and say what needs to come back is the arising of ourselves. So we say that arising is glorious because who you are is glorious. And the arising shouldn't be fearful. It is the beauty of who we are. And it comes from a Christian tradition. However, in all religious and spiritual traditions, there is that arising that comes as you are learning to be you.
It's funny, Molly Bell had just called in, I'm sure you heard it, talking about Easter and, you know, how Jesus got back up. That's what she said. Yeah. So is that what you're referencing when you talk about that in every tradition there's some kind of a rising, a resurrection?
Well, yeah, so in Hindu tradition or Buddhist tradition, when you look at chakras, it really is the arising of yourself. It comes through the motion and the healing of every chakra. When you look at Judaism and you look at the way that they're looking at the tree of life, which we are all the tree of life, it's about how do you uncover and continue to have that light come out of us, right? And I remember when I was little, I would sing a song, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And there's a verse that says, hide it under a bushel, no, I'm going to let it shine. But with life, we do that. We start hiding our inner light and we cover it up and we self-protect and we put walls and barriers to actually fully be ourselves. But when you look at children, they're singing and dancing and playing and speaking or making sounds fully as themselves, and that's what we're all longing to get back to.
Yeah. Well, we hide our light a lot of times for protection. You know, I remember having a coach tell me, quit hiding your light because people can see it anyway. If you're trying to hide from the haters, it's not working. So you might as well show up with your full self.
Exactly. But there's also an energy to it. So as we protect ourselves, there's something that's storing in our body that's also helping to shroud it. And I agree, it's necessary up to a certain point. But when you get to, as Mom Mabley used to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Mm-hmm. That sick and tired has a lot to do with how you are experiencing yourself, not so much how you're experiencing everything else around you. And that's where the peace comes. So
that's interesting because that's the one voice you can never get away from. I mean, even though when we're meditating, theoretically, we're away from our own voice, but not really.
Well, do you want to be? Because it's who you are.
Well, if your inner voice is berating yourself, then yeah, maybe we do want to get away from it.
I see that, but I use it as a way to teach myself. So when I hear the words or the voice talking, instead of it projecting out, because I'm amazing at all the stories, I turn it towards myself. So if I'm thinking something negative about you, it's really how I feel about myself. So the inner voice for me is my greatest teacher. It does it prophetically, but it also does it in the depths of my suffering, right? So I always listen to the voice for what it's showing me and how I can love myself more.
You are an author, obviously. This is your first book. It just came out, A Glorious Arising. It's out right now. I'm holding it up so you can see it on the YouTube. But you're also a business leader. You have managed your family's portfolio businesses, which at one point included a bunch of McDonald's franchises, and had a very traditional business career, as well as this, way of life of glorious arisings. How do you reconcile those? It sounds like, to me, in the book, it sounds like you kind of were doing this and you had some kind of awakening.
True.
So how do you reconcile? Because you're still doing the business stuff, right?
Always. It's part of who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so much of life we try to compartmentalize. Like, especially in business when I was growing up, they always said, leave your personal life at home.
Right.
But I take me everywhere I go. It's really hard for me to leave any part of myself somewhere. So I've learned to just bring all of me into every experience. So no matter what I'm doing, I generally think of everything, including myself, as a business. I am in the business. How am I going to create from that place? How am I going to create prosperity and abundance? How am I going to share that with other people? These are things that are inherent in me. So I don't ever see myself separate from. I want to see the wholeness of me as complete, whether it's in pain or it's completely healed. It's still me whole everywhere I go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right, whether we pretend or not. And apparently compartmentalizing after a certain point could probably lead to schizophrenia and other, mental disorders. That said, I mean, I see you now. You're beautiful, but you're wearing crystals, and you don't look like the person that we would. Your hair is natural and, big and beautiful. You don't look like the person that we would automatically think of. This person is managing a business portfolio, a franchise of McDonald's and other holdings. So how do the two worlds come together for you? And not only for you, for the people that you're dealing with on the other side of the desk.
So unapologetically progressive, I would say that I embody this. But it's not necessarily argumentative because I don't want to be in war.
Right.
So the first thing is when you show up as yourself, like fully start to embody the freedom of yourself, whether you're in a business meeting or not. People might be a little shocked at the beginning, but all of a sudden, because you're so comfortable and free as yourself, it creates the expansiveness in the room. And I find that the more we get tight or we hold back or we're holding something of ourselves that is meant to be expressed, and we don't allow that expression to happen, whether it's verbally or the way that you look, then it starts to limit what's possible in the room. So I never want to limit what's possible in the room. I want to create expansion in it.
We're going to continue our conversation. I got a million questions.
Okay.
It'll be a great conversation. It already is. A Glorious Arising, A Journey to the Remembrance of Me is the book. Kiana Webb is our guest. You're invited in if you have something to say on this wavelength, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Hi, I'm Dominique DiPrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Kiana Webb is our guest. She's an author now, A Glorious Arising, A Journey to the Remembrance of Me. And you're talking about holding space for ourselves to be all of who we are wherever we go. And it's true. You kind of can't really just leave part of yourself at home. But I do think we do a lot of masking. Otherwise, folks, or when we don't, it can be confusing. I know we were talking off the mic and I was saying, well, I love my crystals. I meditate every day. I read all the self-help books, and I can see how it's helped me on the mic too, because I might still argue, but I'm much kinder than I used to be. But sometimes that's confusing for people. Are you a political pundit or who argues, or are you a lady that meditates? We do our Mindful Mondays every Monday around here where we meditate. We do an affirmation, and we get a little astrological outlook to ground us for the week ahead. I don't really see that as a contradiction.
Why would it be? It's who you are. I find it ironic that so many of us project or put on ourselves that we're supposed to be something other than who we are. But the only thing you will ever be is exactly who you are. So and while that seems redundant and simple, it actually is so simple, and we make it so complicated because we are trying to be everyone except for ourselves.
Trying to be everyone. Why?
Because we've been conditioned. Like, you're little and you're singing out loud in the middle of a market, and your mom will say, shh, don't bother people.
Right, you're embarrassing me.
You're embarrassing me.
Yeah.
Or you want to be by yourself, but your parents are saying, you need to go and speak to people. Or when I was little, the requirement was to hug all of your family members, regardless of if I felt safe or not. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not intended to be harmful. It's really their desire, I think, whatever teachers, people in your community, is to bring you out into the world, but it's against how you would actually operate. So that's the masking. We start to protect ourselves so that we can live according to someone else's standards.
Yeah.
You get to a certain age, usually around 40, call it the midlife crisis. I call it the transformation. And you enter into a space where you say, you know what? I'm going to figure out how I would do it. And you could do it with joy and with peace. You could do it with love, or you could do it with anger and upset. Either way, you're moving into that space. And over time, the hope is that you stop looking at what someone else has to determine your own worth, and you look inward to discover it.
You're very outspoken in your book about your family, your background, and it's interesting because you're really saying, I had a happy childhood, I had all these advantages, I learned all these great things, but you're also very candid about your trauma, your childhood trauma. I feel like a lot of times we kind of do one or the other. We vilify our families and say, I survived in spite of this, or we gloss it over and say, my family is so perfect and rose-colored glasses it. We Instagram our families. And it seems like you're trying to present a full picture.
Well, I'm messy. I like that about me. Look.
She said, I'm messy.
I am, but I'm also simple, right? I'm loud and I'm quiet. I'm a lot of things. I don't know any family that has been so healed and have done all of their work that it didn't create some sort of residual trauma. Right? We know now in DNA how our DNA has ancestral lineage in it.
Right.
Right? All of that we carry forward until someone says, well, I'm done. I'm going to heal. So, of course, there's messiness, right? Yeah. Instead of saying it's a negative thing, I like to embrace it, because then I'm no longer fighting myself. So what happened in my family is what happened. I don't have to create a story about it. I can share facts about it. But the moment I judge it, then I'm making it right or wrong, as opposed to just allowing it to be.
Hard not to judge, though. Hard not to judge. I mean, I think, I'm not saying you're judging, but I'm saying, I have a friend who's, okay, we always clown ourselves for being so judgy. Try not to be judgy and understand the difference between discernment and judging.
Okay.
But I think that's important, though, because if we follow the sort of edict of we're only as sick as our secrets, then, Instagramming our lives might not be the healthiest thing to do. When I say Instagramming, I mean put a filter on it and make it look like there's nothing, no bumps.
Well, somebody's going to find out about it anyway, because my dad used to say, whatever you share with one person, the whole world knows. So the more I share about what my life is like, then the less afraid of it I am.
Oh, your dad had a point. Whatever you share with one person, the whole world knows.
Right.
Right. And there is something to be said for just putting it all out there. Not all, but I'm just saying facing our fears or our shadow selves so that we don't have to be afraid of our own selves, what we carry with us.
I think that's the biggest part, right? I was doing a transformational moment the other day, and I was witnessing myself not actually activating. And I was stuck. I say I get stuck in the middle. And I'm literally witnessing not the fear of doing it, it's the fear of the story that I'm telling myself about doing it.
Oh.
That's where we get stuck. Because we're so afraid of what other people are going to think or say about ourselves. We forget to understand when we're liberated from that fear, what it does within ourselves. So that's the external, internal. Glorious Arisings is to say, yeah, people are saying that about me anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it has to be, and it's funny because that's been a bit of a theme for the past couple of weeks with me. We do have to get to the point where we don't care what anyone thinks, but that's easier said than done. To be able to live our lives, because I say that, I don't care. And then I started clocking the ways in which I show up like I do care what others think. And then the self-censorship that happens and the acquiescing to other people's images. And a lot of that does come from our families, right?
Yes.
The expectations. I mean, circling back to the business piece, you are a big part of your family's business success plan. And that came with, you reference it, expectations of you.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let me go back to something you said. If I'm so interested in what other people say about me, it's really only because that's what I say about me.
You think?
Oh, I know. Because life is a mirror.
So if people are saying something about me that I'm not saying about me, then it wouldn't hit me?
Correct.
I'm going to have to process that, because some of these Republican trolls that call me say some things that I don't know if I say, but maybe I do. Maybe I'm open to exploring that.
Yeah, so it moves into like worth, deserving,
Right.
and feeling good enough to be yourself, to be loved.
I love that. Do you feel good enough to be yourself? Okay. So let's go back to this what Oprah calls your aha moment.
Okay.
Let's go back to this, whatever it is, a revelation, a transformation. Explain to the best of your ability what happened and how you processed that.
So I would say there would be moments throughout my life, but when COVID hit, we had decided to sell our business. I'm about a year into it. And then my younger brother wanted to have the opportunity to lead the family business. But it was communicated in a way that was very hurtful to me. Like I wasn't important, I wasn't necessary, and I was not kind. And communicated back to him why that wasn't going to happen, but it was really ugly. And then I took a step back and said, man, am I not of value? I spent my entire life since I was 7 taking care of my family. And now you're telling me that I don't have the capacity or the ability to take us to the next level. I've done that my entire life, right? It was this story, and it was judging, and it was always projecting as me the victim and they were the perpetrators. But it gave me such a gift because it was silent. COVID was silent. I was in my home, it was silent. My children were more silent, remote learning. And I had this opportunity to really start to witness all the ways I was making everyone else wrong for everything I believed. It was painful. I cried, like really the ugly cry with snot coming down your face. I lost a lot of weight. I gained a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight because it was emotionally taxing to witness every way that you were making yourself and everyone else wrong. And from that, I had such profound moments of healing. It was like, oh, if I'm not running my family business, what could I do? I'm going to fail. I only know how to do this. But I didn't fail with them, so now I can learn how not to fail with myself. It was this teeter-totter of voices and listening and really being present to, okay, what is it for me to create in the world regardless of what anybody else is asking me?
That's powerful. When I first came to KBLA, I made this decision. I'm going to reset my business life. This is a new page. And one of the things that I decided was no matter what happens, I'm always going to ask myself, what could I have done to get a different outcome? Instead of, making other people wrong or getting angry, it was always like, what is my responsibility here?
Exactly.
Not in a blaming sense, but in an empowering sense. And when we talk about this idea of taking back our power, it means, I think, and this partly comes from my friend Sahara Ali, who does our Mindful Mondays, stepping out of victimhood.
Yes.
Stepping out of victimhood into victorious world, into self-empowerment.
Yeah. So I simply say, well, you could either be the created or the creator.
The created or the creator.
Yeah. And we're both at all times, but what's leading?
Right.
And most reaction is you're being created. Most things that you walk into that says, where could I don't know. What is it for me? All of these things are questions that lead you to determining how you're going to move forward in life. So now you're creating how you come. So even today when I walked in here, I was in the lovely conference room, and I had a mantra and an intention. I'm going to show up as myself. I'm going to be love and peace and joy. I don't walk into any place not creating how I'm going to be. Setting intention.
Kiana Webb is our guest. Her book is A Glorious Arising, and we will continue the conversation after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black New York Attorney General Letitia James is accused of mortgage fraud by the Federal Housing Finance Agency. The White House referred the case to the DOJ, but no charges have been filed yet. James previously won a civil fraud trial against President Trump. Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, expects inflation to rise and economic growth to slow due to tariffs. Speaking in Chicago, he said the Fed might face a tough situation, balancing inflation control and economic growth, requiring careful interest rate decisions. 10 guards at Mid-State Correctional Facility in Marcy, New York, are charged in the beating death of 22-year-old black inmate Messiah Nantwi. 2 face second-degree murder, and 8 others face related charges. And the Trump administration is asking the IRS to revoke Harvard University's tax-exempt status after the school refused to comply with political demands despite no proof of violations. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
You're going to want to sit down for this. The jumbo breakfast platter from Jack in the Box. No, seriously, it's so munch food. There's French toast sticks, grilled sausage patty, hash brown, and scrambled eggs, all for just $4.99. Get all this and so much more at Jack in the Box.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There was an Anthony Davis sighting last night in the NBA playoffs. Davis had 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocked shots to lead the Dallas Mavericks to a 120-109 win at Sacramento. Last night was only the 9th game AD has played with the Mavericks since he was traded by the Lakers for Luka Doncic on February 2nd. The win eliminated Sacramento from the play-in round. Dallas plays at Memphis Friday night for the 8th and final seed in the Western Conference playoffs. A judge in Los Angeles approved a restraining order for former Rams defensive defensive tackle Aaron Donald. Donald requested the order in an attempt to keep a woman from harassing him and his family. The 10-time Pro Bowler said the woman threatened his 3-year-old son in a Google chat message. Donald, who retired in 2023, also claims the woman has sent gifts, packages, and messages to his house. Sounds like something out of a movie. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the #1 cause of stroke. 55% of Black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
After producing an award-winning climate justice campaign in 2024, KBLA Talk 1580 has gone all in on its 2025 Climate Justice plus Black Health Initiative. April is Minority Health Month, and Urban Family Focus in partnership with Providence Health Systems presents The Heart of the Matter. Providence doctors and health equity officers will participate in informative and life-changing conversations on hypertension, health equity, behavioral health, and community engagement. Don't miss these empowering conversations on Urban Family Focus every Saturday in April at 7 and Sunday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sponsored by Providence, Southern California's largest and most comprehensive health care network. We've got a lot to talk about on KBLA Talk 1580. Download the KBLA 1580 app or log in to KBLA1580.com. I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back indeed. We're talking with Kiana Webb. Her book and her mission, A Glorious Arising. The book has the subtitle, A Journey to the Remembrance of Me. We can find it wherever we get our books, right?
Yes.
And you also have a website because you've got an app on the way, you have workshops and sometimes book signings and different things we need to tap in there if we want to follow that stuff, right?
Yes, you can go to gloriousarisings.com or kianawebb.com.
Okay. Kiana with a K.
It is. Kiana.
Because, you know, we be spelling stuff different kinds of ways. Black people names is a journey.
It is.
So, Kiana Webb with WEBB.com or gloriousarisings.com.
Correct.
Good stuff. So, let's talk a little bit about, you shared how you came from, being focused on doing in your role as a business person to looking at being and in a bit of an epiphany throughout COVID about how you were going to do your life or be your life. Talk to me about the difference between doing and being.
So in my experience of my history, everything that I was doing was leading to how I felt about myself, right? When you look at your beingness, it's all intelligence. You don't ask yourself, how do I digest food? Or how are my nails growing? How's my hair growing? It just does it.
Right.
But there's a part of us that's seeking truth within ourselves. And so we use affirmations and intentions. But we're meant to be individuals who lead from a place of creation, right? And you can use intentions and affirmations, but how is it that you want to live your life? And it's around your vision for yourself. What is the vision that you have for yourself? Once you understand or you establish that, you begin to walk in your vision. And it has a huge component around the Glorious Arisings pathway, which is in almost every spiritual and scientific text. It says you start from a place where you were seeding it. That seed grows, so whether it's your intentions, it has a lot to do with what you want your behaviors to be, and then how you want to activate everything that you do based upon your behaviors, right? So I started with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
As intentions.
As my intentions or my values, my behaviors.
Self-control. I don't hear that in a lot of people's affirmations.
That doesn't mean I don't yell.
Yeah.
Right? But self-control means that I am not reacting. I'm doing it with intention.
Yeah.
Right. So once you get to a place, then you start to embody it, then everything else starts to matriculate around you. It comes towards you, right? So your beingness is everything that you are, that you activate in the world. You're not responding based upon what is happening to you. You get to choose how you're going to respond in every moment.
Yes, we do.
And so...
Even in traffic.
You know?
Yeah. It's funny because we don't ask people, how do you be? We ask people, what do you do?
Well, most people say, what do you do for a living?
Right.
My response is, well, I breathe. I breathe for a living. I nourish my body for a living so I can survive, and I love. And then what do I activate for work? I teach people this. I embody this for myself. I build apps. I build businesses. I build community. Like, the thing is, language always puts us in the doingness of life. And we need it, but you're doing things from how you choose to live. And that beingness is really where we focus. We are a well-being company, not a well-doing.
I think it's interesting too because when someone challenged me, I don't know, many years ago, you're defining yourself around what you do, not what you are. So again, that's being versus doing, right? I judge myself based on work, not how I show up in the world spiritually or my creative impulses or like you said, the fact that my nails keep growing and I keep breathing. So I think it's also a societal thing, right? We are taught to value and define ourselves based on what we do.
Right. Which creates a lot of suffering. Like a lot.
So what's the antidote to that?
You're still going to do it. Like, you're still a major personality in the world. You're going to do it. But are you doing it thinking that's what defines you? Or are you doing it from a place of who you say you are?
Right.
That's the difference. So you just bring it internal because you're still activating in the doing of everything that you want to create in your life. So I'm still an entrepreneur. I wear crystals. I meditate. I pray. I'm still a single mom of 3. One day I hope to get married. I'm still a friend. I am still doing all the things, but I'm no longer looking at what I do to establish my worth.
Yeah.
My worth is established based upon who I am.
Character,
love, all the intentions, courage. I think I was listening earlier with the last interview, and this time needs a lot of courage. It does. But if you don't feel courageous within yourself, then how are you going to literally stand in front of someone that has a gun to you and not change who you are?
So it's not doing courage, it's being courage.
It's being courage.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, so when you say the glorious pathway, as it applies to your mission, with Glorious Arisings? What does that look like? What do you, I know you're not going to teach it all in the next 15 minutes, but give us a little taste of what we're talking about here.
So again, we always want to start from a place of what you want to create, right? And we take you through a systematic process of what that looks like. And the biggest things is don't limit it. The world is abundant and it's huge. We are the ones that limit every possibility. So put it all out there. And then we spend most of the time focusing on who do you want to be in it? Because that's what's going to activate everything that you want to do. And then we look at faith, hope, and love. So in the process of doing this, the universe is going to start bringing you opportunities for you to actually be it. And this is where we start to get afraid, where we start to rely on our old paradigms, right? And we say, okay, well, how do you see? How do you see yourself? How do you feel? Whether you name it with an emotion like I feel afraid or I feel happy, or you just allow the sensations in your body to dictate what is the actual feeling. It's a sensation. And then we say, can you fully love and accept everything that you see and you feel? And if you can't, we're going to stay there for a while. Because if you love yourself unconditionally, you fully love every part of you.
And then how do we define fully love?
That's it.
There's no fine print?
No. So I was telling someone the other day, man, I could really be an a-hole. I could show up in my life and do that. And I fully love that part of me. Because sometimes I need to be. I am not in denial or in conflict of any part of myself. That doesn't mean that I don't fully love and accept other parts of people, right? Or parts of myself. It just means that I literally fully accept all the parts of me. I accept that I was making people wrong. I accept that I made myself wrong. I accept that I made myself right. I accept that I made other people right.
Do you have to forgive yourself for
Always. So once you move through it, you forgive. You say, man, I forgive. And there's levels of forgiveness. There's this very human level, there's a spiritual level, and there's a soul level. Once you drop into the soul level, the energy leaves your body.
So we have to hold ourselves accountable for 3 levels of forgiveness?
No.
In terms of purging that from ourselves?
You don't have to hold yourself accountable to anything. You just forgive yourself.
That is hilarious, but true, because I am in charge of that, right?
Yeah. So the only thing you're really held accountable to is the things that you say that you're held accountable to.
Right.
Right? That puts a lot of pressure on you. Why don't you just be all that you are?
Yeah. All the time.
I mean, because you are, but you just deny it. Like, we deny it. There's places in me that I still have yet to uncover that I know that I'm denying because I don't know them yet.
Right. You haven't found that one yet, or been able to put light on it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. So the masculine path says you are accountable. The feminine path says it will arrive. It will reveal itself. So I just trust that in time, whatever is meant for me to know will reveal itself about me so I can love and forgive and fully accept and then create how I'm going to go into my life.
But that doesn't mean that a man, because we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. It doesn't mean that a man can't pursue this path or a woman can't pursue that path as far as accountability versus something arriving.
Oh, of course not. Like, this isn't about being a man or a woman. My energy is more masculine, so I can get a lot of stuff done, right? When you look at
your personal energy.
My personal energy, I have more masculine energy within me than I have feminine energy. I used to make myself wrong for that. But once I really understood it, it was like, oh, thank God. Now I could just go be me and go get a lot of stuff done. This is amazing. And still honor the feminine part that says I don't have to figure out how to do it all the time. I can actually just be myself and trust that it's going to reveal itself. And then for me, it's to be aware and be observant of what it's showing me and then say, do I want to deal with that? Do I want to heal it? Yeah. Or no, I'll do that later. But it's no longer controlling me.
Put it in the queue. A Glorious Arising is the book, A Journey to the Remembrance of Me. It's brand new. It's Kiana Webb's very first book, and we will continue this fascinating conversation when we come forward will reveal itself on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like it inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Kiana Webb is here, and the off-mic conversation is just as interesting as the on-the-mic conversation, I got to say, which is always a sign of a great guest. It's really fun talking with you. So you've, even though you bring all of who you are everywhere you go, and it's about being, there's been a transformation, and you just talked about transformation in a sense that almost felt like a technique that you have within your glorious or rising pathway. Is that right?
Yeah, we call it a system because I come from business. But yes, we have the system. And then what we know is that everyone walks their path, and it's your own. So your path is unique. So how you walk through your arising journey is very different than how I would walk through it. The fact is that we have the opportunity for everyone to walk through it. So we have a system, it's circular, and it teaches you where you can land within the system and just to move through it, how it's meant for you. And it generally is a generalization, right? But we took it from a lot of spiritual texts, primarily from the Bible, where we said, okay, in the beginning in Judaism, it taught us all about creation. And it taught us about ourselves, and we are the life, right? And it comes from the divine. So you could say it however you want to say it, God, whatever name resonates with you. And that's the intelligence that exists within everything. All plants, all nature, all animals, all minerals, all vegetables, and we're all connected. Then there's the part that in the New Testament, it talks about Jesus's path, and as we're heading into Easter, Passover is a big component, and the cross, right? So I have this blog that I'm writing, and it's all about the cross we have to bear. And the thing is, we think we have to bear the cross. But the cross really for Jesus was liberating. He knew he was going to go down this path, and he chose it. He chose to allow someone else to call him out so that he can walk down the path of liberating himself from whatever the suffering was. And he's placed thorns on his head, and he's bleeding. He has wood on his back, and someone comes and says, "Let me help you carry it." But we think we have to carry these things all the time, right? But the world brings people to help you carry your burdens. And then you get to a place where you're so exhausted of carrying your burden, it says, okay, let's put it down. Let's move into the feminine path, or move into yourself that says, let me heal it and come out of it. And then it says, and forgive them. Forgive them, Father, because they didn't know. Forgiveness for me is a big component of what we teach, because a lot of times you're doing these behaviors, but you don't know where they come from.
Yeah.
You don't know the hurt that started it. And so the forgiveness is designed for you to forgive yourself and forgive everyone else around you that you've made wrong for the hurt that lives in you. And that is your liberation. That's it. And so I don't know how you have to go through your healing journey, but the system creates the opportunity to make it easier for you to do so.
When you had this series of moments, it sounds like not an epiphany, but a series of shifts in your own consciousness and your way of approaching your being in the world, how has that shifted the way you feel, the way you move, and how has your circle of family and friends adjusted, or have they?
Okay, well, let me start with the latter. I think we're all still adjusting. But the fact is we're doing it. So I feel like we're winning.
We're going to be adjusting for the rest of our days, more than likely.
I hope that we start celebrating the moments where we've made a bit of progress as if we've arrived. Like, people tell me, you never arrive. I think I arrive all the time. Like, woohoo, I've arrived at this moment. Let me celebrate this. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
So it's like a series of arrivals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then for the former part of the question, it was transformation as you go through it in the beginning, because we're holding everything so tight and we don't bring breath to it, we don't bring compassion to it, and we're still deeply in the judgment. It's like it was painful, literally physically and emotionally painful.
Wow.
The moment I realized that if I just acknowledge that it's physically and emotionally painful, and I love all the parts of me, I could let it go and breathe and just allow it to be itself. And the more I've done this work, the easier it is, so the faster I move through the process, because I'm not holding on so tight to something that isn't serving me.
So it sounds like one of the takeaways that I'm bringing this morning, and maybe this is me talking to myself, it's that a lot of the suffering, the crosses that we bear, are self-imposed.
Yeah, it's the story we tell. That's the suffering, literally, is the story. And every time I've been practicing with this quite a bit, playing with it quite a bit this past 2 weeks. Every time I tell myself a story, intentionally, I'm watching what it does to my body.
That's a great idea.
Oh, I get really tense, and I'm like squeezing, and I'm like, this is terrible. But your body is teaching you how not to do that, and we're not taught and aware that that's what it does, right? So yeah, it's the story that keeps us bound and trapped of what's going to happen But we don't actually know what's going to happen. We project and create a whole story. People are going to hate me. I'm never going to talk to my family. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to da-da-da. I'm going to da-da. I'm going to da-da. And the story goes on and on and on and on. And then we tell ourselves what's going to be the outcome. But you don't know any of that.
And being present, which being mindful means being where we are right now, so that we don't subject our body and mind to all that torture of what that story is. I think the stories, that's something I did finally sunk in. The stories we tell ourselves are so important, and to be mindful of what they are. And when we find ourselves repeating the same story over and over again, to really examine that.
Exactly.
How is it? Is this serving me? What is this doing?
Or what is it? I say, what is it teaching me about myself?
What is it teaching me about myself?
Mm-hmm.
Man, time flies when you're on the radio. We've got a minute here. I think you've given us a lot to think about. But what would you like to leave us with this morning, Kiana Webb?
I would say that you're beautiful. Every single human being is meant to be here. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to create practices or anything that says that you're enough. You are deserving because you're already here. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. It only matters that you are here. So you're meant to be, and what you're meant to offer the world is vitally important. So I hope you do it.
Yeah, that's a powerful affirmation. I always end the show with the quote. Do you have like a quote or a saying or a motto, mantra that you like?
I am love. I am divine. I am presence. I am me.
I am love, I am divine, I am presence, I am me. Really like that. Kiana Webb, thank you for coming in and spending the hour with me. It's been a lot of fun.
I have enjoyed every moment. Thank you.
The book, of course, A Glorious Arising, A Journey to the Remembrance of Me, KianaWebb.com or GloriousArisings.com. Davis Smiley's up next. As usual, he's got a jam-packed show for you this morning after an incredible night we had in Altadena last night. And thanks once again to everyone who joined us for that conversation, that town hall. And we are keeping that going. Connect with me on social media. I'm there all day at, not all day, but, DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio, or at KBLA 1580. Okay, that affirmation one more time.
I am love.
I am love.
I am divine.
I am divine.
I am presence.
I am presence.
I am me.
I am me. Boy, that's our quote for today. That one comes from Kiana Webb. Like my mama, the late great poet Diane DiPrima used to say, history is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow for our Freedman Friday reparations conversation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Black New York Attorney General Letitia James is accused of mortgage fraud by the Federal Housing Finance Agency. The White House referred the case to the DOJ, but no charges have been filed yet. James previously won a civil fraud trial against President Trump. Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve, expects inflation to rise and economic growth to slow due to tariffs. Speaking in Chicago, he said the Fed might face a tough situation, balancing inflation control and economic growth, requiring careful interest rate decisions. 10 guards at Mid-State Correctional Facility in Marcy, New York, are charged in the beating death of 22-year-old black inmate Messiah Nantwi. 2 face second-degree murder, and 8 others face related charges. And the Trump administration is asking the IRS to revoke Harvard University's tax-exempt status after the school refused to comply with political demands despite no proof of violations. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
You're going to want to sit down for this. The jumbo breakfast platter from Jack in the Box. No, seriously, it's so munch food. There's French toast sticks, grilled sausage patty, hash brown, and scrambled eggs, all for just $4.99. Get